Welcome back to Winners and Losers, everybody. I'm joined by Zachary Jalab. Jalab, how are we today?
Yeah, good, thank you. Yeah, not too bad. Decent little weekend. Halloween was fun. Not too shabby. Chelsea won. As good as it can get for me, my friend. What about you?
Yeah, not too bad. I'm shooting in my new office today.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, I've just moved flat, so I haven't got anything kind of in yet. So it's just two plain walls. So apologies for the background of this set, but nevertheless, should we just crack on with the show? Because literally, as we're about to shoot this, some breaking news. Nuno sacked by Tottenham Hotspur after a pretty horrendous 3-0 drubbing by a really poor Manchester United side as it is. Jalab, was it right to chop him?
Probably. It's not easy. Like, there's a lot of... Tottenham haven't gone about this very well, in my opinion. Obviously, we kind of saw in the summer them going through about 7 different candidates. Obviously, at one point, we meant to be getting Fonseca. Then he pulled out, and it kind of looked... They went back to the square, the drawing board, and looked at Nuno on there and said, okay, let's give Nuno a go. And yeah, considering they brought in a sporting director in Paratici, and like the whole idea was about being able to, like, the sporting director has an overarching goal, to sack him after essentially 2-3 months of the season starting, I think is a bit, maybe a little bit too soon. That being said, I can also understand why. I mean, they've lost to Manchester United now, a very poor performance. I actually think maybe last week's result for United and Liverpool probably kind of took the light away from Nuno, and then obviously they played United on the weekend and lost quite badly, and the light went straight back onto him. And obviously they've also lost against Arsenal, they lost against Chelsea, they lost against West Ham, and they lost against Crystal Palace. Though, you know, Crystal Palace are doing alright at the moment, so West Ham as well. But yeah, they've played 10 games so far this season, lost 5 and won 5, and I think people forget. Literally a month and a half ago, Nuno was manager of the month. He'd won all of his games. He was top of the league. It shows you how quickly things can change at the start of the Premier League, and why to never quite believe what you're seeing or how the league is after just a couple of games. And look, Spurs have been really, really bad. They've been 20th bottom in the league for shots so far this season. Against United, they had 0 on target. I don't think Nuno's necessarily been helped by the form of Harry Kane as well. I mean, that whole saga was just a mess, to be quite honest. They've scored less than Burnley and Newcastle, and only Norwich have created fewer goal-scoring chances than Tottenham in the Premier League this season. And one of the things when Nuno came in that Daniel Levy was saying was that he's going to bring Tottenham back to this free-flowing, attacking football side that they maybe lost under Jose Mourinho, which was mental in the first place. I think you could have asked any Premier League fan, what does Nuno do? It's not free-flowing attacking football. It's never been free-flowing attacking football. So yeah, I mean, obviously at the Spurs game at home for Spurs, when he made the substitution of Lucas Moura coming off, there was a lot of booing in the ground. I think a lot of people stayed till full time just to boo him. I think there was a chance of, you don't know what you're doing. Maybe last season, to be quite honest, Jose maybe got saved at times because there was no fans in the stadium. I think a lot of Spurs fans will be waking up today or seeing this news today and thinking, thank God, like, brilliant, like, this is what we needed now. I think it's very much the wrong man for the wrong job, and as much as I think Nuno, I do feel sorry for him. You know, he must have been expecting it.
Yeah, man, I also really feel sorry for Nuno Espirito Santo. I think he was, like you say, the wrong man at the wrong time. I don't think he aligned with Daniel Levy's whole pretty hollow statement, quite frankly, of free-flowing, attacking DNA that was just an utter load of nonsense. He was 7th choice. Don't really think the fans wanted him. And he comes across as a really lovely guy as well. It's almost like he has been not necessarily a scapegoat, because the football has been pretty rancid, to be honest with you, and Tottenham have been appalling this season, but a lot of the hate directed towards Nuno, I think, really is meant for Daniel Levy.
But Joe, okay, we've spoken a bunch about Nuno. Yeah. Who could be coming in to take over as the Spurs boss?
I mean, it's got to be Conte, hasn't it? It has to be Conte if you're Daniel Levy. I don't see what other option you've got. You tried to appoint him in the summer. That kind of broke down after You weren't giving him the insurances of how much money he's going to have to spend and what he's going to have to do. He's still out of work at this stage, and we're probably talking about one of the top 5 coaches in world football. I think you've got to break the bank for Antonio Conte. I think they will break the bank for Antonio Conte. We've just seen this morning that Fabrizio Romano saying he's ready to accept Tottenham's proposal if they can come to an agreement on salary and wages and the future of the transfer spend. Those things should just be bread and butter for Daniel Levy. Just give him what he wants. Seriously, give Antonio Conte what he wants. He will be amazing. He is the master of turning around teams in shit positions. He will really get this Tottenham squad playing. I think he'll turn it around very quickly. They've still got some exceptional talent in there. I think the squad is really well set up for a 3-5-2 under Antonio Conte. You know, they've got Matt Doherty there who can still play in that wing-back role. He might be favoured under Antonio Conte. They've also got Emerson who can play as a wing-back. On the other side, Reguilon sets up quite well as a wing-back. I think Romero would be better in a back 3. There's also Skip and Højbjerg who can play in those 2 defensive roles with Ndombele a bit further forward, and then Son and Kane as a front 2. I think it's perfectly set up for Antonio Conte in this squad. I think he would do a really good job at Tottenham Hotspur. And to be honest with you, Daniel Levy should have no excuses but to break the bank. He pissballed around. He pissballed around for 72 days appointing Nuno, trying to get the cheap option. The cheap option never works. They'll get Antonio Conte. He'll be immense for them. And this is a serious problem for clubs like Man United, Arsenal, West Ham in that top 4 race if Antonio Conte becomes Tottenham Hotspur manager, because he is better than Ole, he's better than Arteta, he's better than David Moyes, and the squad is underrated in my opinion. So I think it'll be Conte, and I think it'll be hot.
Moving on to our winners then, and it's none other than West Ham. So Joe, tell me why there are winners, and how good of a job is David Moyes doing in East London?
I mean, David Moyes is doing an outrageous job at West Ham. Obviously, his CV kind of got burnt up, didn't it, when he went to Manchester United, and the subsequent jobs at like Sociedad and Sunderland haven't really helped his cause. But his coaching work at Everton previously was phenomenal, and we're seeing that in fruition yet again at West Ham. An unbelievable 4-1 win away at Aston Villa is no mean feat. It's no mean feat. It shouldn't go under the radar, and he is doing the most spectacular job. The squad is in a great area right now. He's balancing the Europa League and the Premier League really well. You know, when he took over, let's not forget, West Ham was 17th. They were 1 point above relegation. They're now battling consistently, to be fair, for a top 4 spot. They're 4th in the league right now. They finished 2 points off 4th last season as well. The backroom staff that he has cultivated at West Ham, packed full of experience. You know, they've all been a manager at some stage in their career. I was doing a bit of research this morning. Paul Nevin was at the New Zealand Knights. Stuart Pearce, of course, we know where he's been. City, England under-21s. Kevin Nolan was in charge of Orient as well as Notts County, I think. Billy McKinley was, of course, in charge of Watford for a short spell. He's managed out in Norway as well. So he's got an experienced backroom staff. The recruitment has been exceptional this summer, and to be honest with you, throughout the whole of David Moyes' West Ham tenure, you know, some of the pickups like Thomas Souček, Kufau, have been really good. Areola was a smart pickup this summer. Ben Rama's finally finding his feet. They've got a 62,500 seater expansion coming at the London Stadium to make it the biggest stadium in London. I think they've got the 3rd best expected goals in the league behind City and Liverpool. Not much more could be going in the right direction for West Ham. They even had the news last week that I think a Czech owner is planning on buying about 25% of the club off the GSB. Yeah. So, I mean, the fans must be absolutely loving it, and clearly, so are the players.
I think it has to be said as well, they have yet to play Chelsea, Liverpool or Man City in the league. But if you're a West Ham fan right now, things are buzzing. Different story if you're a Villa fan, because things aren't going so well. That's now 4 losses on the bounce. I think I have to say, the first 2 goals in this game, I think Martinez can do much better with. I don't think he was performing to the standard that we know him to be at, and that could have maybe made the game slightly different. But they're struggling to kind of find any kind of balance. Moved from a 3 at the back to a 4 at the back. They dropped Tyrone Mings, the club captain.
Big call, by the way. That's a massive call.
For this game, yeah, a huge call. They are really, really struggling without Jack Grealish, right? They spent so many years building the team around him and playing football with him being the main focal point in all of their attacks in some way, shape or form, whether he was creating it or finishing it off. And it shows. They've got their 16th for XG as well in the league, and their 16th as well for expected goals against. So it's not great on either side of the pitch. Now they spent £100 million in the summer, that Jack Grealish money. Bailey can't get a game at the moment. It's through different reasons as well, injury being one of them. Buendia has been struggling since moving from Norwich to them. Ings has won in 7 games for them up top. It's not been amazing considering how great they were to watch last season. A lot of that is down to losing Jack Grealish. When you're so reliant on one player, it's going to take time to kind of get back into to change your philosophy or the way you're playing football, essentially. So
I think he's in trouble, though. I think he's in trouble, Dean Smith. I actually think Dean Smith...
Is it to the point he could be sacked?
I think they're closer to the relegation zone than mid-table right now. As a side, Aston Villa, they've got jam-packed full of quality, and I don't think he should be sacked right now, but he needs to turn it around quickly, given the owners have spent a lot of money improving this side, and I think that Dean Smith could be in a bit of detriment here.
Well, let's hear what he has to say.
I'm always concerned when we lose any game, so yeah, concerned because we've lost 4 games, but I have a great belief in the quality of the squad we've got that we'll turn it around.
Finally, our losers, and it's a rare L, a very rare L for Manchester City and Pep Guardiola, but this week has been an L for them.
Yeah, it's not been great. It's been a bad week. They got knocked out of the Carabao Cup on penalties by our winners earlier on, West Ham. They can't win that cup for the 5th or 6th time in a row, whatever it may be. And then they've lost at home to Crystal Palace in the league. 2-0 as well. Really good performance from Palace. We'll get onto them in a minute. Now, City have scored 4+ on 6 games this season, but have also scored 0 in 5 of them, which is very unlike City. It's kind of either you're smashing teams at the moment this year, or you're struggling to find the back of the net, and sometimes that can be put down to not having an out-and-out striker at times for City. I think we've mentioned a few times this season. But it's not just not having a number 9 that is affecting Man City, because they're also not creating a lot of chances. This season has been the lowest chance creation numbers since Pep Guardiola took over. Now, there were 0 big chances created. Big chances are normally opportunities that lead to a shot on goal, versus Crystal Palace in this game. Now, there's been 1 goal and 2 assists for Jack Grealish so far in 9 Premier League starts. Not quite what I think a lot of fans of just the Premier League were expecting for a £100 million player. Again, it's kind of the same effect. He's gone from a team where in Aston Villa everything was going through him to a team in Manchester City where he's kind of just another player in the system, in the cog that needs to do what Pep Guardiola kind of says. But it also has to be said, during this game, the sending off was a huge turning point for a positive in Crystal Palace and a negative in Man City's case. Joe, what do you think? Because for me, this red card is a perfect example of kind of the inconsistency we have in the Premier League at the moment with referees. Because also in the earlier kickoff against Arsenal, Leicester City versus Arsenal, Johnny Evans did essentially the exact same thing where he brings down the man when Aubameyang is through on goal and doesn't get sent off. I think it is a red card, but there needs to be consistency.
Yeah, definite need for consistency. It's like an orange, isn't it? It's like an orange because he is quite away from goal. There potentially is a covering fullback coming across, but you can see by the ruling, by the official FA rules, that it is a red card. It's harsh. It does kill the game to an element as well for Aymeric Laporte, and I don't know if I would have given a red in that situation. I think I would have given a yellow, and I don't think there would have been too many complaints for either side. To be honest with you, it's that sort of moment where I think you might have had a few Palace fans and players going, wow, he's going through on goal, but the majority of the footballing world would say, yeah, okay, he's brought him down in that position, yellow card, it's a bit of a cynical foul. But Manchester City are always cynically fouling players and teams on the break in quick transition. Tactical fouling is part of their game. I think it was probably a yellow for me. I don't know. I'm torn. I'm really torn, to be honest with you. But you know what? Forget the red. And I know that Man City have struggled for like a couple of games, but we know they're going to be fine across the course of the season. I want to talk about Crystal Palace, man, because Crystal Palace, they're not like West Ham's levels of everything going in the right direction, but certainly things are going right now for Crystal Palace. You know, they've got a new £20 million academy ground being built. Patrick Vieira, we were very questionable. We thought it was quite a questionable move. Is he going to be the right guy to take over? We weren't sure either way. He's doing a great job right now. He's got all of the players playing really, really well. We've seen a bit of a rejuvenation from Christian Benteke. But Conor Gallagher is the guy I want to talk about because this kid is seriously special. I thought he was really good last season on loan at West Brom. I think he's got even better since he's gone to Crystal Palace. Chelsea have really got a star for the future in midfield there. No doubt about it. I mean, I'm just looking at some of his numbers now. And 1 goal, 1 assist, 4 chances created, 5 tackles, 2 interceptions in 9 appearances in the Premier League this season. He's been directly involved in 4 goals, already equaling that tally when he was at West Brom. And it was a dog at West Brom side as well, wasn't it? They were crap. Whereas Palace are actually playing quite good football. It's a young, exciting team with a young, exciting manager, quite frankly, in a position where they could breach top 10 this season, Crystal Palace, quite comfortably, because there's some dross in the league. There is some dross in the league. And, you know, hats off to Patrick Vieira. Let's hear from the man himself right now.
It was important for us because we went to Liverpool and we played well and we conceded 3 goals. We came here and we knew that it will be really difficult, but we stick together. We show that the team is improving. We did well in a couple of games that we played in possession, but out of possession, it was some details that we needed to improve. And I think today the team showed that they are capable of defending well together for the 95 minutes, and that's a good sign for us.
All right, let's do some moments of the week then. I think there's probably 3 exceptional candidates here. I've got Aaron Ramsdale, who is just looking like a beast. He's looking like Peter Schmeichel, quite frankly, right now, and huge L's for all the Arsenal fans who were crying about that signature when it first happened, which was about 90% of the fan base. Anybody at home that's an Arsenal fan that was kidding themselves now saying that they really like that signing is a liar. The free kick save in particular is outrageous. The Mwepu goal for Brighton. Oh, mate, it's more than all right. The Mwepu goal from 30 yards, it's like Tielemans.
No, I'm on about the save, sorry. The
save.
Oh,
come on, Jalab. The save's outrageous.
Don't get me wrong. It's a good save. However, it's not like it's top bins or anything like that. Like, mate, have you seen where if that goes in, I think you're criticising him personally.
He didn't though. He didn't. And he
very true. But but a recovery. I don't know.
I think his save's outrageous.
It's a good save.
The Mwepu goal for Brighton as well is like Tielemans times 2 against Man United. Yeah. Obviously, outrageous strike. Brighton and Potter. You know, Potter's transition from the first half to the second half and his tactical switch up was just outrageous. To school Jurgen Klopp in that regards, that is no mean feat. And then obviously Reece James, the brace is pretty spectacular. The 2 strikes, left and right footed, are just beautiful. So I guess you'd pick Reece James, would you?
No, I'll go Mwepu. I really like that finish. The finish was a really, really, really good finish. Obviously against a fantastic goalkeeper as well, Alisson. It's also, I feel like that one was meant more so than Tielemans. I still think back to that Tielemans one and think maybe that was a cross.
Yeah, it could have been a cross.
Whereas Mwepu was 100% going for goal. Really, really good finish.
I'm definitely going Aaron Ramsdale, man. I'm definitely going Aaron Ramsdale.
You know what? Please, in the comments below, is it an unreal save?
Mate, it's such a good save.
Because it's a good save, but it's a save that I think a Premier League standard keeper should be making. If you see the freeze frame of where the ball is when he hits his hand.
Yeah, I know what you mean by that, but still outrageous. And I also want to just because he's an Arsenal fan, he got so much hate when he took it up the gloves.
I get completely.
And I just love the turnaround arc. He's been amazing for Arsenal, and just I really enjoy when Arsenal fans are holding huge L's over a player like Aaron Ramsdale because they're crying about the transfer policy again. But yeah, that's it. What should we point to, Jalab? Anything people should watch?
Why not check out Sunday Vibes, where me, Doogie, and Patrick Van Straten spoke about injuries in the Premier League and whose team would be most affected. We also had a few quickfire questions as well. It was a good episode. Check that out. That was out yesterday. And if you're ever looking to buy a football club, on Saturday we did a Football Daily Explain on how to do it. So if you've got the money, get us in as the sporting directors. It'll be a great strand.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, that's it for another episode of Winners and Losers. It's going to be Conte at Tottenham, which is an outrageous appointment. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. We'll see you later.